Hello, everybody, and welcome to On the Edge. My name is Kels Dayton, and I'll be taking you through the best of the week in sports here on Sportzedge.com. And first off today, I'd like to start off this show by talking about my boy A-Rod, because he's really getting stiffed, I think, by the Yankees. It's clear that the two sides obviously haven't seen eye to eye on whether A-Rod is ready to rejoin the team in the Bronx. Alex said that he was ready for the series in Texas, which started last Monday, while the Yankees insist that they found some immaculate quad strain that will luckily keep him on the shelf for the near future. A-Rod went on WFAN radio and told Mike Francesa that he's ready to play right now, but the Yankees are treating him like Play Now treated George Costanza in that Seinfeld episode, doing everything but make him crawl through the ceiling vent to get into the stadium in Tampa. Sure, Rodriguez put himself in this position by lying, cheating, and generally acting like Ronnie from the Jersey Shore, but by any reasonable account, A-Rod is healthy and ready to play in baseball games again. The Yankees, on the other hand, are not ready for him to play in baseball games. They've told him to shut up, basically. They've dared him to file a grievance with the Players Association, and they generally wish ill will towards his entire existence. If it were up to the Yankees, A-Rod would re-injure his quad strain while jogging naked through Central Park again. He would suffer a concussion after Biogenesis bottles fell on him in his medicine cabinet, or he would choke on a popcorn kernel he was being fed by Kate Hudson. Anything to keep that guy off the field. See, if the Yankees don't play him again this season, they might be able to recoup some of the $100 million they owe him, thanks to an insurance policy. But in my opinion, it's the Yankees' fault for signing A-Rod to one of the dumbest contracts in Major League Baseball history. All right, now it's time for Who's Got the Edge with my boy Matt Buynak here. I believe he won some type of contest to come on this show. Matt, how are you?
Actually, Kels, I think you forgot that you invited me to be here. There was no contest, but I'm doing fine, thank you.
I think that's because we couldn't get anyone else. Matt, what do you think about the whole A-Rod situation? Do you think he will ever play for the Yankees again?
I don't believe that he'll ever play for the Yankees again, Kels. I mean, right now, there's this beef between the Yankees and A-Rod, and they don't really like each other, and I don't see a future between the two. We're looking for A-Rod to get suspended here. I don't see him coming back to the Yankees after his suspension. There's just been too much beef. He's going to be too old to be on the Yankees. He's 38 right now. Figure he might not play again for the rest of this season, and who knows when he'll play next season, if he'll play next season.
Yeah, and he's got 4 more years left on his contract, and I think it was one of the dumbest contracts we've ever seen in Major League Baseball. And do you think the Yankees are purposely not letting him back on the field here? I think this whole MRI thing is kind of nonsense. It may be something that Major League Baseball is doing to kind of be like, let's wait until this whole thing settles down. But what do you think about that?
I don't think the Yankees want him on the field right now. They kind of want the dust to clear with this biogenesis thing. Of course, like you said, if A-Rod's going to be suspended and he doesn't play this season, then they're going to get that insurance money back.
Which is a big deal, $100 million.
That is a big deal. But if he is healthy and there's not going to be any suspension with biogenesis, it would make sense to get him back on the field. If he's healthy, try to lead that team towards making the playoffs.
So do you think, speaking of making the playoffs, do you think the Yankees have a chance to make the playoffs this season?
Yankees fans, I'm sorry, but I don't see the Yankees making the playoffs this season. They're 8 games back in the AL East, 4 games back now in the wild card standings, and I don't really know how much this means, but ESPN, they've calculated some type of formula that's the team's percent chance of making the playoffs. They give the Yankees less than a 12% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what goes into that formula. I'm not sure how much 12% from ESPN means, but I got to disagree with you there. I think the Yankees still have a chance. Baltimore is ahead of them. Cleveland's not going to stay ahead of them, I don't think, for the rest of the season. Can't even name 5 guys on the Indians. But I think Baltimore, obviously, dangerous team. They made the playoffs last season. But that's really the only team they have to catch up to. And I think if they get hot, they just added Soriano. I think he might come back in Yankee Stadium and play well, because that's a park that's kind of built for his talents. I think they do still have a chance to maybe get there. I know Sabathia hasn't pitched well.
But when you look at it now, right now they're 4th in the AL East. The Red Sox, they've been struggling a little bit. They're in 2nd place right now. And the Rays, they've been really hot. Now, you can't expect the Red Sox to struggle for the rest of the season. They're going to pick it up. And you can't expect the Rays to be as hot as they've been, winning now 21 out of 24.
Right.
I think they're both going to find a medium. And in the spot that they're in right now, both of those teams are going to make the playoffs, and that's going to leave the Yankees out.
Well, I mean, the Yankees could catch maybe that last wild card spot. You look at maybe the Orioles would get in. I know the Rangers are also ahead of them. So I think, I think you're right. It's going to be tough for them. I think they haven't played very well. Another thing is the schedule gets very difficult in the second half. They were loading up on the Blue Jays and the Royals and the Twins in the first half. Second half, they got teams like the Rangers, many more games on the road, especially with the Red Sox. So that could be really interesting. Who do you think is going to win the AL East when it's all said and done?
Right now, I gotta give this one to the Red Sox. I mean, like I've said, the Rays, they've been really hot, but you can't expect them to keep that up. And the Red Sox, they've been struggling, and they're not going to continue to struggle. So when everything clears out and they both find a medium, I think that the Rays are going to cool down and the Red Sox are going to heat up, and that's just going to give them the little push that they need to win the division because it's so close right now.
Well, I agree with you that obviously the Red Sox have a great chance to win the division. I think the Rays are going to end up doing it. I think they got so much pitching. I think their offense is much better. When you take a look at Will Myers is coming in and done a great job. Longoria's done a great job.
Has done a great job since being traded from the Royals.
And I think that trade might have been worth it, too, when you look at giving up James Shields, especially the way Archer's pitched, and they do have a great staff. It's going to be really interesting to see what does happen in the rest of the season with the American League East. And one more thing that I wanted to talk about was, should contracts of suspended stars, should they be voidable? Do you think the Yankees should be able to void the A-Rod contract, even though they're the ones who signed it and it was guaranteed money?
Absolutely. I mean, when you go and you do steroids, something that is like one of the biggest sins in baseball, being able to void a contract, that's a big punishment right there. That's basically, you're getting your suspension. And a suspension, it's kind of like a slap on the wrist. It's like, oh, you got to sit out those 50 games, 100 games, but you come back and you're right back with that team. You know, if the team wants to void the contract, how big of a punishment is that? Now, not only have you missed the last 100 games, you got to find another team that's going to pick you up. You don't have a team to come back to.
I think that's very true, and I think that could be one of the big punishments that could actually deter people from doing steroids. I think that, and also, being banned for life. Speaking of that, A-Rod getting banned for life, I think that the fact that Major League Baseball, the fact that he interfered basically with the whole thing, I think that's why it's being brought up that he might get banned from life from the game. I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't see it either, Kels.
No.
I mean, A-Rod's never been a violator of this before. Sure, he's admitted that from 2001 to 2003 he was using steroids. There was no punishment for that. And to come out with a ban for life for his technically first offense, that's really harsh. And when you look at Pete Rose is the only one who's been banned for life. There's been nobody banned for life because of steroids.
Right.
And there's people who aren't so happy with the Pete Rose punishment. They think that he should be able to manage, or he should be able to make it into the Hall of Fame, things that he can't do because he's been banned.
Right, you're right. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. For Matt Buynak, I'm Kels Dayton. This has been Who's Got the Edge right here on Sportzedge.com. Be sure to check out all the other great content we have on this site. And maybe go on and make your own fan forum video as well. Just set up a camera and rant on whatever you feel like ranting about. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See ya.